Hello, everybody. My name is Samson Aziaba. I am a PhD candidate in the Faculty of Architecture and the Built Environment, and I'm going to introduce this video titled African Visions. In January 2018, the course team traveled to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, to interview diverse group of researchers and practitioners that participated in a joint event to discuss African urban challenges. The event was organized by the Ethiopian Institute of Architecture, Building Construction and City Development, and the Faculty of Architecture of TU Delft. The practitioners have vast experience working in the field of architecture, urban planning, and community development in African cities. Therefore, it was a unique opportunity to get new insights about Africa from the perspectives and experiences of local experts working in countries like Ghana, Ethiopia, Nairobi, Rwanda, and Kenya. We know that Africa is a diverse continent, and every country and city has its own particularities. This video provides a collection of personal visions to inspire you and trigger discussions. These visions are built from two perspectives. First, the main misconceptions that the international community sometimes have about Africa. And second, the local understanding of Africa from the perspectives of housing, urban resilience, and spatial justice. I hope you enjoy it.
Big misconception is that Africa as a whole, and Ethiopia for me, especially when we have a discourse on Ethiopia, is that it is really, does it have buildings? Do you have planning? Is there an urban life? Is there buildings? You are an architect. So there is a big misconception about Africa, I feel, about this vibrant people, amazing history and knowledge that is there on the ground. And yeah, I feel that there's a big misconception and knowledge, and I just wish that people would see the countries as they are and not only what is portrayed in the media for that purpose. Yeah.
Biggest misconception I often see, it's getting less now, but the biggest misconception is that this is a poor country, people are not very, I feel that in Europe, when people, forgive me my explanation about this, but when people are poor, often people think that they are stupid, not clever. But, we have faced a lot of challenges. We have faced wars, we faced famine, and so on. But this has happened also in the past in our history. And our resilience comes out of fighting with this. So people do not understand that we are also a people that can bounce back, go back and recreate our strength and so on, our great days and so on. So when people see today what is there, or what they see, they do not think it is these people who have created those great works of architecture and heritage. So this can be recreated, and the misconception is that people cannot connect what they see today with the people who have created it.
Okay. The biggest misconception, I would say, it's poverty. The poverty in the definition it's given. The poverty that we define through the African lens is merely value we attribute to things that do not belong here, don't have a root here. Poverty can be easily changed if what's available here, what can be produced here, what can exist. It was valued at the same level as maybe, for instance, I don't know, we value the New York Stock Exchange. There's no reason why basket weaving corporation in Ethiopia cannot have the same stock value. So I think the poverty that exists in Africa is a man-made creation. We created it through our systems and understandings and financing models that exist on the planet, and it's something that we can change if we wanted to.
According to my experience, for example, in the informal settlements in Nairobi, a lot of people are squeezing in a very small area. Also, they don't have basic sanitation. They don't have access to clean water. This is a problem that lies in the hands of both local residents and also the city government. And also, I think people from all over the world have been given advice for that, but I think resources have to come all together and focus on certain aspects so that it can solve some real problems on the ground.
Research and findings show that the Ethiopian population, particularly in Addis Ababa, is growing in alarming rates. So this has been as one of the challenging problems to address the housing problems in Ethiopia. So in my view, it's not only the responsibility of architects and urban planners. Rather, it should be the responsibility of sociologists, social anthropologists, politicians, decision makers, and other related respective stakeholders in order to tackle the housing problem.
Urban population is much more resilient than rural population. And I think that's what has historically attracted this migration to urban centers in the past. And because of that, I think it's really important to draw lessons on how that resilience is built, and then what our interventions can do to improve individuals' lifestyle at large scale, but using the lessons of that resilience already built through that urban center.
Another thing is, I think local knowledge, local experience matters in these kinds of activities. So priorities need to be set. See, if the resilience requirement of Youth or Apollo might be different than what my Addis Ababa. It's a different culture, different climate, economy, socio-political structures, education, and demography. So that resilience needs to be contextualized. So to contextualize that, you cannot come up with a template that will fit for everybody. So you come up with a template that is adaptive, very adaptive, so people can adapt it to the local needs.
I believe that one of the most important things for society is its attitude, its sense of belongingness to its place, a sense of ownership of its own heritage, and it's, the legacies before them is very much when you talk to Ethiopians, when they talk about history, about their heritage, it's connected. It's not like in the past or today. They really strongly feel that they are part of it, that today is a part of the past. So they really feel threatened and so on. And that helps when this does not go right, they feel that something is going wrong. So they feel, and I have seen it also several times, that resilience is also reflected in the way they try to maintain their past and their heritage, their memories, and their connectedness to the ground, to the buildings, to their whole landscape.
Okay.
I believe we women have an extra sense. I don't want all the men to be upset with me, but an extra sense of being like when we design residential, when we design parks, when we design, it's much more than buildings. It's about the use, the efficiency, and especially as an Ethiopian and African architect working in this place, women have the role of leading the society. Therefore, I believe that women architects and engineers have a role in bringing leadership into the design industry, actually.
Oftentimes, the way actual citizens live in the city, they don't subscribe to that same idea of everything being in its own neighborhood or its own specific zone. There's a lot more hybridity, and I think in a way, the stereotype is this is part of the dynamism of African cities, is that it is very much intermixed, but it's critical to understand this from sort of the angle of agency and saying that it's okay for individuals or groups of people within the city to occupy it in the ways that they want to. And planning actually should try to accommodate that, as opposed to trying to suppress this kind of individual expression and force everyone into top-down specifications for urban order.
People who have been living and using a certain space, not only buildings, but public spaces which are related to the memory and heritage of the city, when this heritage goes, when this area goes, their rights, their possibility to exist and work and live in the city also goes. So they find themselves in newer, not very convenient places. So I think there is a very strong sense of justice, deprivation of justice when you lose it.